Oh boy, this is going to be a long one. I know it's been a while. For me, not for you. For you, this is probably like the first clip, but I had intended on vlogging the reading of the books I'd obviously put on my HRCYED TBR. It is the 20th today, so it's been like 13 days. I have been ill for like all that time. I might even still have a bad throat, so if it sounds a bit rough, I'm sorry. So I did complete a book without coming in to chat to you. No, I've completed 2 books without coming in to chat to you. But I have updates on the other 2 books that I'm currently reading, and hopefully the rest of the month will go a bit better. I really, this illness, I really didn't have time for it this month. It's really fucked my reading plans for this month. I'm like over a week behind on what I needed to get read in July, and so I don't think that stack's happening now, which is rather disappointing. But biomes, yes, I finished 2 of my biomes books. So I have read Cursed Daughters by Yinken Braithwaite. I'll pop it up here. I picked that for aquatic on the cover, aquatic biome. This was actually, do you know what? I don't think that I would have had much to say if I popped in halfway on this one or quarter of the way or whatever. I think this is one of those books that it was just, I experienced it, and I kind of probably wouldn't have had many thoughts till the end anyway. So this follows multiple generations in this family that has a curse. We follow they live together in one house. We have the like grandmother, mother, daughter, and we have an aunt. I'm trying to remember because it basically I'm trying to remember the family tree. Basically, we follow 3 women in this family, and then we have like a little 4th POV that pops in every now and then, and she is the like generations before, and the reason why the family is cursed, and she just pops in. I think it's at the beginning of each part. And I did this via audio, so I can't quite remember if it's in parts or not, but I feel like it was. Yes, it is in parts, sorry. She pops in at the beginning of each part, so we hear from her maybe like 5 times throughout the book, explaining how this curse happened. And basically this family is cursed that none of the women will find love or find true love or find a man that will stay with them, something like that. It's quite heteronormative, actually, thinking back. And it's because someone in their previous family, she had an affair with a visiting gentleman from another town, but they do marry. It's a bit complicated, I guess. I don't know, based in the time period as well. But anyway, so his first wife places a curse on her that her daughters will never know love, something along that line. I can't remember the exact wordage. We follow cousins, and each of them at different points in their lives. One of them has, unfortunately, prior to the story, well, not prior to the story because we do go back and listen to her BOV, but she does take her own life due to this curse, because she cannot imagine, or that's kind of how it's portrayed when we first hear about it, that she just can't imagine like her life without love, basically. And the last one, the most recent one, she is like 16, something like that, 17, about to go to university, and she has been plagued by the fact that she looks like her aunt, who was the one who committed suicide, and everyone believes that she is like a reincarnation of her aunt, except her mum, and her mum doesn't want anyone talking about the aunt around her because she wants her to have her own identity. So it's really interesting to see this idea of the curse and like where men fit in our lives and society from like the 80s through to current day. I think it's really well written in that it really makes you wonder, like, is there a curse on these women, because none of them can manage to find like a true love or like keep a man, um or is it just that they are picking poor men, or is it just that they not picking poor men, a lot of men, and one of the men in this book portrays himself as a perfect man, but then he turns out to be an absolute skank. So um is it that they so believe this curse that they're kind of like accidentally ruining their own relationships, like these kind of questions, because they are being haunted by the idea of this generational curse. And even as the reader, even as you're reading this, like the backstory of the curse, it's very much, do you believe in a curse or not? Because yes, someone can say to someone, I curse all your daughters, but if you don't believe in it, I don't, or if you do believe in it, do you make it happen? Like, these kind of questions come to the forefront. And I think one thing that Ian Braithwaite does so well, I've only read one other book by them, and I think they actually only have 2 full novels out, so I've read them both, and that is My Sister's a Serial Killer. And what this author does so well is write those familial relationships, particularly between women, and they don't feel forced, and they feel real. In Cursed Daughters, it's set in Nigeria. I mean, that's a culture I don't know. That's a family unit that I'm not going to be familiar with, and how Nigerian families speak to one another, or how they interact with one another in those relationships. That's not something I'm going to be familiar with, because my culture is so set apart from that. But at no point did it feel unreal to me, because at the basic of it all, the love we have for one another and for our family, I think, is something that you can easily decipher in every culture, no matter how different the cultures might be. Yeah, I don't know. This was one of those books that I really, during it, I was like, okay, where are we going with this? And then at the end, I was like, I don't really know where we went with it. But then the more I thought on it, I was like, I still don't know where we went with it, but God, did I enjoy it. And I really enjoyed the journey. And I really enjoyed those relationship discussions, and the kind of, it was just like a slice of life into this family. And I don't know, it just, the more I think on it, the more I really enjoyed it. I think, like, when I finished it, I might have given it a 3.5, but now I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's a solid 4. Yeah, I'm glad I finally picked that up, because I really enjoyed it. And then I read Empire of Shadows. I can't remember who writes this, Jacqueline something. Again, I'll pop it up here. This is the first in a series. The series is called like Oribus something. I should have bought my notes, but there we go. And this is like a historical adventure romance, and it's exactly what I love in these kind of books. Okay, I am a big fan, if you didn't know by now, I'm a big fan of this like Victorian woman who doesn't fit the mold, and she has a love or passion for something, and typically it's something that's not considered particularly ladylike. And those series, and I like it when they're long series as well, I adore them. I'll put on screen some of my favourite ones, and this, I can tell it's going to be one of them. I think there's 3 books out so far, so I'm quite excited that I can jump straight into the second book. The third book's not available on Everand yet, but I'm going to see if I can get it at the library or something. We follow, and this is dual POV as well, which is great. So we follow Ellie. I literally just finished this yesterday. Ellie and Adam. That's it. So Ellie is a like a researcher. She works for the British government, and she is also quite a feminist, obviously, and has been known to take part in the suffragette movement. And she loses her job due to chaining herself to a fence. And as she's about to leave, she's very pissed off, because she's worked very hard to get where she is. She knows that she was very lucky to get the job she has, and that now, especially her mum, is going to be like, well, you tried, whatever, it's now time to find a man. And she doesn't want to find a man. She doesn't want to get married and lose all of the things she gets fulfillment in her life from. And when she leaves, she kind of ends up taking this map, and she realizes that it's from the like pre-Columbian landmass that is currently being kind of taken over by the British Empire. She realizes it's a map for something there, possibly like a Mayan temple or something. And she kind of decides off the cuff that she's going to go there and she's going to look for it. And there's a very horrible, scary man chasing her because he wants the map for his nefarious reasons. And she ends up hiring this man, Adam, to help her. Kind of not through choice, it just circumstance happens, and Adam ends up helping her. He is currently working there as he's like the head of the, I can't remember what he's called, but basically his job is to map out like this landmass for the British Empire. And he seems like a cool dude. Obviously, with the time frame, obviously colonization, and I think the author kind of approaches that quite well and doesn't really make light of it, considering this is supposed to be like a bit of a fun romance. Obviously, romance blossoms between the two. It's very, very slow build, which is wonderful. I liked that. We just get to see them get along, well, not get along, they banter, they wind each other up, they bicker. It very much gave me the Mummy vibes. In fact, they were who I was picturing in the roles as I was listening. The storyline itself, like the temple they're looking for, all of this, fantastic. Chef's kiss, no notes. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was like, yeah, it was like the love I have for the Mummy in this book. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm very much looking forward to reading the second one. And I can't remember what I put this for. And now I'm on to my third book for the biomes, and that is The Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas. I logged it last night, but I've forgotten to put my bookmark in. I think I'm like 30% of the way through. So in this world, we have different types of like gods or godly adjacent peoples, and we follow Tio. There's this guy here. He is a trans son of the goddess of birds, so he has these wings, because his mum is a goddess of birds, and he is a jade, which means that when this competition comes, which is called the trials, they have the Sunbearer trial, they have a competition with 10 of the very best semi-doses, where the winner will be celebrated and the loser will be sacrificed. And only golds get picked for this. So whilst Tio has to be there for the event, he knows he won't get picked. Like he has that luxury of knowing that he won't get picked because he is but a jade. And he gets picked alongside another jade, who is Zio, and he's only 13, and he's the son of the god of bad luck, so he's having a worse time, bless him. Luckily, Tia's best friend Nia, who is a gold, is there, also gets picked and is there to help them through. But yes, it is the first time in like a millennia that not only has a jade been chosen, but two jades. And we're just at that bit where Tio and Nia have decided they're going to help out with Zio, because bless him, he's a proper misfit, and they realise they're all kind of misfits. And Tio also has this back history with another gold who he used to be best friends with, and then when he got into the like gold academy, he decided it was too good to be friends with Tio, so Tio kind of has beef with that, which is understandable. Yeah, so this is quite interesting, the idea of I really love this cover, the idea of, it's not like It's not like in the Hunger Games when anyone could get picked, you know. He went there knowing that he would not get picked, and then to get picked is crazy. And there is a second book, and I believe it's already out. Yeah, there is a second book, and I believe it's already out. So when I finish this, I can jump straight into that, and then I can just pick up the cover, and hopefully they've all got this little gold trim on it. I'm so excited to read this. I absolutely loved Cemetery Boys by this author, and I love the writing style. So I've been quite looking forward to jumping into another book by this author, and I'm very excited for the Esposito Boys. Is that what it is? The second Cemetery Boys book coming out. I'm just being fed this summer. I'm enjoying this. I think this was like tropical plants of some sort as well. So that is 2.5 books for my biomes down. I need to get on it. I have started my book for the Not So Secret Prompts. I did the Doom Scroll. I landed on Between Two Fires by Christopher Bellman. I am a quarter of the way through it. Oh, nearly halfway through this, and this is a grimdark medieval, I guess, horror with slight, no horror, I was going to say slight fantasy, but I wouldn't say it's fantasy, it's more horror. It's set in France during the Black Plague in 1348, and we have Thomas, who is a disgraced knight. He saves this little girl, Delphine, who's only 12 or 13, from being raped and probably abused and whatever else by Thomas's. He's like in a little band of thieves he's going around with, and he saves her. He slaughters the rest of the bands he's with to save this little girl, and then she ends up going with him because her father has died of the plague, and she somehow miraculously has not got the plague. And she, at this point, she's really starting to grow on him. He does not like her to begin with. He finds her annoying. He doesn't want another person to look after. He's like, I'll drop you off at the nearest town. But then they kind of become like a little twosome, and he starts to really care for her. And along the route, they also have a priest that teams up with them. And where are they going? Well, they're not quite sure. They're following Delphine's lead. She seems to be having like visions. Thomas refers to her as a witch, and she has these like dreams or visions that tell her where she needs to be. And now the priest and Thomas are just kind of going along with her. And in this world, obviously, it's disgusting. The Black Plague is wiping everyone out. Anyone that's left is filthy, hungry, scared, desperate. All these kind of things. So the world itself is disgusting. Like, it's horrific to live there. And then add on that they're coming across a lot of kind of supernatural elements as they're going along, which are really disgusting and fucking with all of their heads except Delphine. So the curious thing is, who is Delphine? What is she? Is she a witch? Can she speak to God? Is she like a fallen angel? Who even knows? But they are following her lead and trying to survive in this disgusting world. I've read 1 or 2 kind of gross medieval horror books over the last year. Possibly I need to read more. I can understand why this gets so much hype. It originally came out in like 2012, and now it is getting a lot of hype, and I can understand why it's picked up and it's getting blurbed by, you know, we've got Joe Hill on here, Joe Abercrombie. This is getting really picked up. It's well loved, and I can understand why. I'm really enjoying it. Enjoying being grossed out by, you know, halfway through. I need to finish it soon because it's a 1-week loan. So that is my priority. So yes, that is where we are at the minute. So going forward, hopefully, obviously editing out the coughs, hopefully we should be doing a bit more reading vloggy style reading as we go. So yeah, I'll see you soon with an update on something else. But the biomes are going well so far this month. Oh, I've downloaded my new releases, the mashup prompt where I'm doing a new release from BIPOC author every month. I know it's only meant to be 5 prompts, but I'm going to do it every month for a full year. I've downloaded that. It is the Ranch of Elmwood. I'll put it up here. I'm very much looking forward to starting that. So I think once I get Between Two Fires done, that is going to be my next one to pick up. It's going not to plan, possibly not going well, but I'm gonna say it's going well to pump myself up, you know. This is a bit of a poor start. I was so excited, and then getting knocked out for like a week and a half was not the plan, but it is what it is. And yeah, because August is summer holidays. I mean, my son is homeschooled anyway, so that doesn't really change it, but it does feel like summer holidays, we're out of the house a lot, you know. But yeah, okay, I'll see you soon with another update. Oh no, I've just closed my book without the bookmark. Oh well. Just sitting in my car whilst my son's in his guitar lesson, and I've really started panicking about the fact that my illness took me so far behind on my TBR. So we're going to try and finish 7 books in 7 days. I'm not going to say read 7 books in 7 days, because there's so many books that I'm midway through that I need to finish. Right, we're going to do it. We're going to finish 7 books in 7 days. Priority and Sunbearer Trials. I've only got a couple of hours left on the audio of that. And they're the 2 I'm currently in the middle of that I want to get finished today. I don't know if I'm gonna get this finished today. No, we're gonna try. We're gonna aim for it. Okay, this is my goal. You're coming along with me. Where's the thing there? 7 books finished in 7 days. I've never done a challenge like this before, but let's do it. So I'm gonna sit here. I've got another 20 minutes before I pick up my son, so I'm gonna read this. I also got this drink to try out. It's an apple protein water. Tastes quite interesting, but it's alright. I'll probably get it again. The title is in a book, Between Two Fires. I feel like that clip in Family Guy where he's like, they said the name of the film. That's it. I always love it when the title's actually in the text. Okay, it is the next day. Let's do a check-in on how well I did yesterday, or rather how poorly, I guess. I don't know. So I did finish 2 books yesterday. One of them was not a HRCYED book though. So I finished the Sunbearer Trials. Take my bookmark out there actually. I absolutely love this. So I listened to this on audio from my library and I absolutely loved it. I've borrowed the second book straight away, Celestial Monsters. I loved this. So Teo, he and his friends, like, just what they go through during this, and Teo's the only one questioning how normal, or he's questioning why it's considered an honor. That's the word I'm looking for, an honor to be sacrificed in this at the end of the Sunbearer trial. So the one who is ranked lowest gets sacrificed by, I think it's the one who's ranked highest. And he's the only one that questions that. He's like, if it's such an honor, why isn't the winner the one that's sacrificed? And it's like, yes, exactly. Why isn't the winner the one that's sacrificed if it's such an honor? But yeah, this is really cool. And Teo kind of, even though at the start of this, Teo is already well established as a trans boy, this isn't new to him. Everyone knows he's a boy. But he still has an arc of like self-acceptance in this identity, and that's to do with his wings and stuff, and just learning to love himself, and at the same time obviously learning more about the kind of politics of how their world is run, and why the semidios, which are the golds, like the heroes of the world, are kept separate. And that's because the semidios are kind of like kept in this little bubble where they never interact with mortals. They're trained to think that it is an honor to sacrifice oneself for this god, and they're basically raised to believe that their only purpose is to eventually sacrifice themselves for one another. Yeah, it was very interesting. It left on a fantastic cliffhanger, so I'm very excited for book 2. I finished this book, One Little Lie. I think that's what it's called, One Little Lie, One More Lie, One Little Lie, which was another audiobook I was reading. It's not for HRCYED, so I probably won't talk about it here, but I did finish it, which is cool. Okay, so this one, I knew I wouldn't finish this, but I did expect to read more. So yesterday I was like under halfway, and now I'm exactly halfway. I think I read like 20 pages. yeah, the day just got away with me. I was very busy with the kids, so I didn't get a chance to sit down and read. I'm going to try and read some now because the house is quite quiet. I've got one child napping and one out for a few hours, so I'm going to try and get some of this read. Ideally, I need to get this read because it needs to go back to the library on Saturday as well, so I need to get this read. It would be wonderful if I could finish it today. I'm really enjoying it so far, but yeah, it would be wonderful if I could finish it today. And now, because I finished the 2 audiobooks I was in the middle of, I have started my next audiobook, which is The Girl with 1,000 Faces by Sonia Dean. I'm literally only like 2 chapters into that, so I can't really say much about it. But at the end of the night, when I do my update, I will tell you more about it, because hopefully I will be a lot further, and hopefully I'll have either actually finished that one or this one. As I said, I do have the physical for that, but I'm going down the audiobook route. Let's see which one. I will get one finished today, because that is the goal of this whole thing. I've just filmed my August TBR for Her Kid as well, so I'm already excited about that TBR. And I was like, wait, you have no right to be excited about that TBR. You haven't even finished this TBR, you fool. So let's do it. Okay, was I supposed to give you a check-in before bed last night? Yes, I was. Did I get to bed and I just didn't fancy being perceived? Also, yes. Okay, so I didn't finish this. This was my one goal yesterday. I've got a quarter left, so that is getting finished today. I'm really enjoying this, by the way. Really enjoying this. I think I want to read more medieval stuff, even though it's really grim. I'm quite enjoying this. And there's a few little quotes that really I took a moment, and I really enjoyed this one. They're talking about Adam and Eve, and the priest says to our young girl Delphine, man is born into sin all because of Adam. And then a gentleman they've met along the way says, mostly Eve, my priest told us. And Delphine says, that's not fair. She was tempted by something stronger than her. Adam was tempted by a weaker creature, or so we're told. If Eve was his inferior, his sin was greater. You can't have it both ways. Louder, little girl, louder. And then this one. So I'm doing this via audio. I am bookmark here, so just between like a quarter and halfway through. This is really cool. I didn't really know a great deal about this. I don't tend to know a great deal about books before I go into them. So I just knew this was set in Hong Kong in 1975, and we followed a triad exorcist with a mysterious past. That is all I knew, and obviously we'll learn a lot more. So she is called Mercy Chan. She is an exorcist, but she's not really an exorcist. She doesn't refer to herself as an exorcist. She refers to herself as like a ghost talker. She has this power that allows her to speak to ghosts. People call her in, or she gets sent by her triad boss in when they need an exorcism, and she goes in and she chats to the ghosts and tries to make them tries to help them understand that it's time to move on, basically. And she has no memories of before arriving at that walled city. It was like during World War II, or just at the end of World War II. During World War II, they're under like Japanese occupation. Me and history do not go hand in hand. And yes, she has no memory of her past, but she obviously has this power. She seemingly has something going on in her past, but she just doesn't know what it is, obviously. And so we get little snippets, little chapters of her like childhood, but presumably that's not her memories of that childhood, because she doesn't have those memories. How cool is this edition, by the way? And the cover is you can turn it around the other way and have the original cover. I think that's a really cool feature. And this is the Broken Binding edition cover. Yeah, so she has found herself in a position where the government are trying to destroy the walled city because it's run by triads. It's full of ghosts, and they want to basically knock it down and rebuild the city with better feng shui so that the ghosts aren't so stuck there. And obviously the government wants to take it back from the rule of the triad. And Mercy has found herself in a position that she has been made aware that there is a ghost that is drowning lots of people, and it's been going on underneath her nose. She's not been aware of it. There's not been like murmurings of it. So now she has to try and find that ghost, find out what's happening, try and resolve it in order to help her boss in maintaining the city. But yeah, so she's kind of ending up in this it says in the synopsis, a cat and mouse game, which I think is a good description. Cat and mouse game with this demon that drowns people, and its name is 1,000 Faces, which is where this comes from. Very creepy, very eerie. The mythology, the folklore is so intriguing, and I kind of really like ghosts and entities surrounding water. I don't know why, possibly because I am terrified of deep water, so it makes sense that I really enjoy horror or like creepy stories surrounding that. One that I really love that I read recently, it's a YA called possibly Bloom. It's by Trang. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I'll put it up here. She also did was it She Is the Haunting? Anyway, I love this author, YA ghost stories, and her most recent one, I'm saying Bloom, but I can't remember if that is what it's called. I'm going to have to double check. Her most recent one was about creatures in the bayou, and loved it. But that's like Vietnamese, inspired Vietnamese folklore. But yes, anyway, enjoy both of these. This will definitely be finished today. I'm going to go sit down and read this now. This one, I think I've got about 6 hours left on the audiobook, so possibly not. But I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to get started on... I was going to do the Elm Ranch one next for HRCYED, but I really want to read one of my Spiffbo find lists so I could get a review out for that soon. So I might do that as my ebook next, and then do the Elmwood Ranch one after. Okay, and then my next physical book, once I've finished this one, I don't think I've got any more physical books on my HRCYED TBR. I have 2 ebooks. I do have a physical book, but I was considering doing it as an audiobook, and that's Futility, and that is my pick for the side quest for this month. So that's one I could dip in and out of physically and audio. That would work quite well. And then I do have another audio in mind, which is not for HRCYED, but is one I want to get to this month, which is the first in the Cassandra Clare series, Clockwork Orange, no. City is the Clockwork whatever is one of her series in this universe. City of Bones, I think. I don't know. Sandra from Got a Thing for Things is doing a readathon of the universe. I've never read any of it. I have the first series, like the City of whatever. I do have those copies, so I thought this was a fantastic time to jump into it and read along with them. Yeah, anyway, you don't need to know all this. Basically, what I'm saying is we're going to finish this. We're going to sit down and finish this right now, as long as my daughter allows me. She's menacing all over my desk in a minute. So we're going to go finish this. I really, I do anticipate this being a 5-star, which is crazy. I thought I would enjoy it, but I you know, sometimes when you go into a book and you already have in mind what rating you think it's likely to be, just based on like your own enjoyment, the vibes the book's giving you, or what other people are saying. I appreciate it when they end up being higher than what I think they're going to be. Obviously, I'm disappointed when they end up being lower than what I think they're going to be. And just to be clear, just because I go in thinking it's probably going to be, like I went into this thinking it's probably going to be around 4 stars, doesn't mean that I do not, obviously, doesn't mean that it has to end that. I'm not fixed on that, because that wouldn't be correct to the reading experience, if that makes sense. Anyway, I need to finish this because I need to go back tomorrow. So I'm finishing this right now. Look at me go. I'm going to go do it. Hope you're all having a good week so far. I'm just getting ready for bed. let's just do a quick chat about Between Two Fires whilst I just tidy up my bed a bit. So I finished it. I had emotions. This book's really interesting. I think I need to think on it overnight, kind of consider where I'm going to be rating it. So last we spoke, I believe I was saying it was feeling like a 5-star, and a big part of me is still feeling that way because the ending I loved and it made me feel so much. There's a chunk, so it's in the book's in 5 parts. I think it's part 4, most of that one. It gets really kind of choppy in its storytelling. I think it's meant to be that way. I think it's like stylistic choice. It's meant to feel a bit like a fever dream. But I had no idea what was going on, and I kept thinking I was missing things, and that I was just like too not intelligent enough to keep up with what the book was doing, and I don't like feeling that way. So that's why I'm in an R-ing about where this lands rating wise. However, in general, this book was fantastic. So many kids' toys on my bed. This book was fantastic. I loved it. Oh no, I kind of hated it as much as I loved it, if that makes sense. It definitely, I'm glad I finally got to it. I feel like it's one of those books that I've wanted to read for so long, and I had to just bite the bullet and do it, or I would have just kept being like, that is a book I want to read, and never getting round to it, if that makes sense. So I'm really pleased that I did finally get round to it. Did it live up to the hype for me? Yes, 100% it did. It was grim, it was depressing. In fact, at no point was it kind of, there were moments. This is the thing, I really, until that like bit that I complained about, that like fever dream part, I really enjoyed the pacing of this book. It was are you a pair? Yeah, you are a pair. It was I know there's so many different ways you can pace a book, and a lot of books I feel like have a pacing where it just kind of starts here and then it goes, or maybe it starts quite high and then it kind of dips down, like the exciting you're joining this book, there's an exciting thing happening, then it kind of goes, and then it steadily goes up and up and up for the 3rd act. And this one was so interesting because it was literally like this all the way through. We had like these crazy moments and these moments of calm, these crazy moments of calm, and the moments of calm were like the aftermath of the crazy moments. And in a lot of cases, like someone died or something, and it was really heart-wrenching. And then it got to the end where it was just like bam, 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 and like did not stop. Yeah, am I talking myself into this being a 5-star? I'm not going to decide just now. I will decide tomorrow. But today is Saturday. I did start this challenge on Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I should have finished 4 books by the end of today, and I'm currently finished 3 books. I finished the Sunbearer Trials. I finished One More Lie, and I finished Between Two Fires. I'm currently reading The Girl with 1,000 Faces, and I've started off Mages and Magic, which is one of my Spiffbo semi-finalists that I want to read. So ideally by the end of tomorrow I will have finished both of those. I do foresee that as a possibility, as long as I like buckle down tomorrow, and as long as my kids play ball. I only have one kid tomorrow. One's going on holiday for the week with his grandparents, so it's a bit easier to juggle reading around one child, because I can set her up with something to do whilst I read, whereas normally if I set one of them up with something, the other one wants something, and it's really hard to align. So you don't need to know about my parenting scheduling woes. Just, yes, tomorrow I'm planning on reading a lot, so I plan on getting the Girl with a Thousand Faces done. I don't know where I am on that, maybe like 50-ish%. And I've literally read like one chapter of Mages and Magic, so that will be, now I'm going to bed, I'm going to read some of that, and then I'll read that tomorrow. And in an ideal world, I would review that tomorrow, but obviously I don't want to rush through the book. In order to do that, the review can obviously go up on another day. Additionally, I have been doing, on TikTok, I've been doing a lot of not talking, just like gesturing and music ones, because my throat hurts so much. Yes, that is where we are. So that is where we are at. We're doing okay. Okay. Friends, I am coming to you on Monday. I don't know when I last spoke to you. I think it might have been Saturday night. I don't think I spoke to you yesterday at all. Because I'd planned to read a lot and my daughter had other plans, so we were very busy for the day instead of reading. However, I did finish The Girl with a Thousand Faces. I really enjoyed this. It definitely did not hit the heights of Book Eaters for me, but I think that is to be expected, because Book Eaters is about a mother protecting her child, so that is always going to kind of hit more for me emotionally. However, The Girl with a Thousand Faces definitely went in a direction which I could never have anticipated, like the change of POV. I don't want to talk too much about it in case of any kind of spoiler territory, but we do change POV for quite a bit, which I had not been anticipating, but wasn't a negative thing. It didn't, like, once I realised, hey, this is what we're doing, and when I got into the swing of it, I actually found it quite enjoyable, and the ending was very, I could see some people finding the ending to be quite lackluster. I do personally think it was quite in keeping with the story, but if I read reviews that said that they were let down by the ending, I would not be confused by that opinion. So I don't know where I'm going to land on ratings for this one. I'm trying to think. I think Book Eaters might have even got a 5-star from me, and this one's definitely not at those heights. I think it's maybe a 4-star. I really enjoyed the writing style. I do want to read more by this author as they put out their books. So yeah, I'm glad I finally read it. It was a good. I've got a special edition on my shelf, and I will be keeping it, which is another good thing to decide, so I can emboss that and put it on my shelf. And then I did not get any further in of Makers and Magic, Magic and Makers. That is my priority for today. However, I did start my next audiobook, which is Futility. Oh, hang on. Which is Futility by Nuzo Ona. And okay, so I enjoy weird lit. I enjoy weird girl lit. I enjoy feminist fiction, and I enjoy girls will be girls, they're murdering people. However, this one, I'm only on chapter like 4, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm going to be so for real right now. I have no idea what is going on. I will obviously be persevering, because A, DNFs do not count on HRCYED, and B, this is also on my art fantasy bingo board. So I'm hoping the further I get into it, the more I'm going to kind of pick up pace on what the story's doing. This has a Nigerian boyfriend in it. I don't think we've met him yet, but that's interesting. I've been reading a lot of Nigerian books recently. That is very interesting. This follows 2 women who are constantly betrayed by men in their lives, and they seethe with rage and bitterness, and when a trickster spirit offers them the gift of revenge, they cannot resist. So we have one that runs one of the best restaurants in Nigeria, or in Abuja in Nigeria, and is renowned among her male clientele for her captivating beauty and delicious hot pepper soup. The soup, she puts human parts in it. And then we have Claire, who is a 50-year-old British woman living in Abuja with her young Nigerian boyfriend and his beautiful cousin Shade, and she has serious jealousy and resentment. Claire, when we first met her, there was like a whole thing where she was just like at the table with Shade, and just kept farting, and there was really big descriptions of the smell of it and stuff, and I just was like, what the fuck am I reading? And then we went to Chia, who was like cutting up a body and eating the penis, and I was like, again, what the fuck am I reading? How did I get here? So we need to read some more to find out how I got here. Yeah, so this is my audiobook for the day. I think I'm going to continue via audio and listen to my audiobook. So I will finish this today, and hopefully I'll be finishing of Magic and Makers, or of Makers and Magic and Makers, because I am behind on the books finishing. Because I am behind on finishing 7 books in 7 days, because I did not finish 2 yesterday. So I'm going to finish 2 today, and that is my goal. But yeah, I just wanted to pop in and tell you where I am. I got this signed plate for this, which is really cool. So there we are. Very interesting read, very weird. This one was for the side quest for this month, a till cover. Eyeballs. It's always eyeballs on the cover. It's always eyeballs at the scene of the crime. So I will come back when I've got more to say. So there we have it. I didn't come back to you on the 7th day of my finish 7 books in 7 day challenge, because life got extremely busy and depressing. But we are here to do a wrap up. Did I finish my biomes prompt? Well, no. I'm gonna bury the lead right now. No, I did not finish my biomes prompt. I have 1 book left that I need to read, and one of them was replaced as well. So let's just get into it. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a wrap up of all the books I read in July that have fulfilled a prompt or 2, and we'll just go through it in terms of the bingo board. But before we start, as you know, my goal for HRCYED is to try and read as many books from my physical TBR as possible. This month I read 3, and I have 9 books fulfilling prompts. So that's a third. Wow, I can do some good maths. I want to try and do better next month. And please, I did read some of the books from my TBR, so let's talk about them. If we go through the prompts, we will just quickly name the prompts that I haven't filled anything in, just in case you are still on the fence about whether or not you want to take part in HRCYED. Seeing some of these prompts might make you think, actually, this could be a fun challenge. And as always, all of the details for HRCYED and the creator are in the description below. Let me know in the comments if you are taking part though, and what prompt is your favourite this year. So we have choose your party, periodic table, familial terms, which is my prompt I'm focusing on in August. If you haven't seen my TBR video for that, where I rolled, spun, etc. to find out what I was reading in August, I will link it above this side, I believe. Traipsing through regions, choose your curriculum, which I am going to be focusing on in September, as it feels like a back to school prompt, so I think that'll be fun to do in September. Road trip, bookception. I did fulfill one of these prompts. I have put in Inkheart. So this is the one I picked up for the side quests this year, which have replaced the not so secret prompts from previous years. Basically, each month Cuddy will give you a choice between 2 prompts. Last year it was just 1 prompt. This year we have a choice between 2 prompts. Depending on which prompt you go with, you get a different reward. I went with a teal cover. Yes, I know, but one of these colours matched a paint sample of teal I found online, so we're having it. That's just reminded me actually. So I did obviously originally aim to read fertility. I got to 30% possibly, and I did decide to DNF that. I was trying to avoid DNFing because you can't include DNFs in the challenge, but I really wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't the target audience for it. It would have been a waste of my time, energy, and I would have left just a bad review, which wouldn't have been fair for future readers or the author, considering I knew so early on that it wasn't for me. So I was in a rush to find something, and I remembered I had this middle grade book, Inkheart, which I'd really wanted to read. I have the trilogy. There is a 4th one out now though, but that came out like years later. There were so many different shades, I was able to like colour match it to a colour paint sample of teal. So Inkheart is a middle grade fantasy book. We follow Meggie, who has grown up with her dad. Her mum is not around, I believe, that she is of the understanding her mum disappeared, like went on an adventure and disappeared or something when she was a child. Her dad is a big book lover, as is Meggie. However, he will not read out loud to her, and we discover that the reason he can't read out loud is because when he reads out loud, characters from the books come through into our world. And when he discovered this, he accidentally brought through some not so nice characters, and they have been stalking him the whole of Maggie's life. So they end up going on a adventure, trying to hide from this said bad guy and his like cohorts. However, they are captured, and that is kind of where the story goes. This went into a much darker turn than I was anticipating. There is torture and things along those lines, but the general crux of the story I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed a lot of the characters. There's some in here that I cannot wait to learn more about in future books. And at the beginning of most of the chapters, there is a quote from another book, like in our world. However, they pull through something from Treasure Island specifically in this, and I have Treasure Island on my shelves, which is a book I would like to get to. I've not read it since I was a child, literally a child. I found in some old schoolwork at my parents' a book report I wrote on it when I was like 10. So yeah, that will be the bookception book to go alongside this. Bookception is read a book and that mentions a book that's in our real world, and then read that book. So this will be Inkheart, and then Treasure Island will eventually go into the other section of bookception. Then the Not So Secret prompt. These were the prompts that were monthly prompts last year, and this year they are just for everyone to do. I rolled my dice. Yeah, I rolled for this one, and I got doom scroll. So it was to just scroll on my social media of choice, such as TikTok, and read one of the first books you saw. And luckily I saw a book that I was not only interested in, but I knew was available at my library. Obviously you saw me reading that, and that is Between Two Fires. I won't go into too many details because you did see my reading experience as I was going along. A couple of weeks have passed since I finished that book, and I still keep thinking about it. It really was such an interesting book. I am going to pick up by this author, The Black Tongue Thief or something like that. Give that a try. But Between Two Fires is definitely on my radar for a book I want to physically own at some point. And if you missed my July TBR, I will link that, and you can see the video I got this suggestion from. Next is cover styles. I was able to put in a book in here that I read for the Biomes prompt, and that is Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. And I've popped this in as an illustrated cover. I like the hand drawn style that they've gone with. This is a kind of adventure romance story, very much in the vein of The Mummy, and we are set in the Victorian era. We follow a young woman who has a passion for artifacts and history, and obviously because she is a woman, she is kind of frowned upon for her interest. She loses her job, which she was quite lucky to have in the first place, because most of the women that work at the place that she worked at serve in like a receptionist or administrative role, and her mother is desperate for her to get married. She, on her last day, she discovers a map, and she on a whim decides to take it with her because she believes it is going to take her to an unknown place in, I believe it's in what we now refer to as Colombia. Yeah, I believe so. And on the way she ends up teaming up with a gentleman, like a roguish gentleman, who works as a guide. She basically, I was going to say hires him. I don't know if she really hires him, but he ends up just going on an adventure with her. It's a fun romp. Romance ensues. This is a series. There's like a fourth book coming out, so I have a few to dive into. I really enjoyed this. However, I do really enjoy series set in Victorian eras, following women who have interesting or unique passions for things. I managed to put a lot into titular counting. So this is, we have to do books 1 to 10 of the number of words in the title. And these are the kind of prompts that you feel really quick at the beginning and then you struggle with later on. So I obviously put Inkart in for a book with a 1-word title. For a 2-word title, I put The Suffering in. This is by David Sodergren, and it is like a slasher horror. I can't remember the exact phrasing of what his books are. Slasher horror? No. Splatterpunk? No, I don't know. I can't remember. It's a historical setting, and it is set in a monastery. We follow a collection of nuns who are they're in the mountains. They're away from everyone else, and unfortunately, a weird disease makes its way into their group during a time that they are snowed in at the top of the mountain, and unfortunately a doctor is stuck there with them, a gentleman. He ends up, for various reasons, ends up there for the winter with them, and this disease is gross and horrific, and some of those scenes I'm going to think about for a long time. It is exactly what is to be expected with David Sodergren books, though. For a title with 3 words, I have slipped in One Little Lie. This is by Charlotte Leonard. This is a book I completely picked up on a whim. It's I guess like a domestic thriller. Is it domestic? I don't know. It follows a woman who is living a trash life. She's not living, but she's very stuck in the life that she's ended up in. She has a husband and 2 adult sons, and then one of the sons' girlfriend lives with them as well. And she's kind of like the maid to them all. She's ended up in this role that a lot of women, I think, find themselves in. And she's very unfulfilled. She feels unloved. There's like no passion in her relationship. She barely feels noticed by anyone unless they want something of her. And she left behind like the career she wanted and her passion for art when she kind of got tied down in this family setting kind of thing. And she one day finds a lump in her breast, and her mother did die of breast cancer, so she obviously fears the worst. And while she's waiting for the biopsy results, her family start acting a lot nicer and looking after themselves and taking her thoughts into consideration. And so she's like, when the biopsy comes back as negative, she decides not to tell them for a little bit, and then it kind of snowballs from there. This was an interesting read. I think I read it in like a day, or at least in 2 days. And this is a character that's like, it's one of those characters that you feels unlikable, but at the same time you can kind of understand how she got there. Yeah, it was interesting. Probably not something I would have picked up if I'd fully known what the premise was, though. For 5 words in the title, I've put in The Case of Elmwood Ranch. I haven't actually finished this. This is by Deanna Gray. This is my new release book for July. I'm doing for the HRCYED mashup, which is a prompt from HRCYED 1 and a prompt from HRCYED 2 mashed together. So I've done a new release by BIPOC author. So you do have a 2-week leeway. So I haven't managed to finish this yet. I do need to finish it by like the 14th of this month. But I put in there because it will be fulfilling this prompt. It's a paranormal investigator and a woman who is sapphic, and a woman who owns a ranch that her brother thinks is possessed. So they kind of team up, but the woman who owns the ranch is an extreme skeptic. I'm only about 20% in, and I'm loving it so far. I'm loving the characters individually. It's like dual POV, and I'm really enjoying their interactions, especially with the like skeptic side and the true believer side. I'm enjoying it. I quite enjoyed Outdrawn by this author, so I did anticipate I would enjoy this, so yeah. And then for 8 words in the title, I read The Restaurant at the End of the Universe by Douglas Adams. This is the second book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. I don't know if that's what the series is actually called, but the first book is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm trying to be better at reading sequels to series I've started, and I had this reserved in my audiobook reserved from my library, and it came available. Listened to it, fantastic, and it fit in here perfectly, so that is great timing. I'd read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy like last year, I think it was, so I'm excited to continue on with the series. This one felt a little bit more kind of filler, but it was still fun and enjoyable along the way. For characters to authors, I've not even considered this prompt, so there's nothing in there, and the same with the Shiratori one. Both of these are ones I need to do like in one go. I can't just pop in now and then, you know. And then obviously for the new releases with BIPOC authors, I have The Case of the Elmwood Ranch in there. It's not finished, but it will be finished shortly. We then have numerical titles. I really struggle with that word. And unlike the titular counting, this one is the titles have to have the number word in the title. So I've managed to fulfill 2 of these. Obviously I put in between 2 fires for number 2, and then for 11 plus I've put in The Girl with 1,000 Faces by Singy Dean. You saw my thoughts as I went along with this in the previous section. This was really enjoyable. I sat with some time. I was like, do I want to keep the copy? Because I don't, you know, if I don't need it, I could definitely pop this on Vinted, because it is a gorgeous copy as well, and I'm sure that someone would appreciate it. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, I actually really did like this, and I do foresee this being a reread at some point. So it was embossed, it's staying on my shelves, and I had a really good time with this. It didn't quite meet the heights of Book Eaters for me. However, Book Eaters just holds a place in my heart because it is about a mother protecting her child, and as I've mentioned, I am a mum, and those books do get me in the feels. Oh, I need to take my post-its out of that actually. That one popped in for 11 plus. Obviously we've got 1,000. I've not put anything in rainbow yet, rainbow of words. This one, in previous 2 years it was colours on the cover. This year the colour has to be in the title. I've not even considered this. I believe I've got Clockwork Orange. I've got the colour purple. The colour purple, yeah, I can definitely count that. The rereads have to be longer than, you have to have originally read them longer than 5 years ago, so I can definitely count the colour purple because I read that, I think, about 11 years ago. I do have the Priory of the Orange Tree. I didn't think I had any, but now I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, I've got a couple. But yeah, any of these colours that you know of any, please let me know. Hasn't the second book to Fourth Wing got a colour in it? Anyway, that's not what we're doing right now. But yes, hopefully I can fulfill these when I do get round to it. I've not added anything into animal families. Then we have biomes, which was the prompt I was focusing on in July. As you can see, it's not fully fulfilled, and as you can see, one of them has changed. So I did have the Staircase in the Woods in here. I didn't even manage to even look at that in July, but I did decide to replace it with The Suffering because I've read that, and that has mountains on the covers, so that's gone in there in place. I still need to read The Staircase in the Woods for a liminal space prompt for a different bingo board, the horror bingo board, so I will have to try and get to it before November anyway. And then I read The Girl with 1,000 Faces for urban because we are in a city on that cover. The one I haven't read yet is the Boreal Forest, which is Seasons of Glass and Iron. I still intend to read that. It's only about 100 pages. I'm annoyed I didn't get around to it in July, but I will get around to it hopefully this month. Then I have, for Temperate Rainforest, I have the Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas. This was fantastic. I've already grabbed the second book as an audio from my library because I want to get to that ASAP. This is set in a world that's like ours, but gods and like semi-dios and stuff are living amongst humans, and they have these Sunbearer trials when is it 10? Yeah, 10 of the best semi-dioses are selected to compete in trials, and the winner is the sun bearer, and they are celebrated and then sacrificed for the sun god, I believe. And yeah, we followed Tio, who is a 17-year-old trans boy. He is the son of the goddess of birds. He is not a semi-dios, so he has no worries when it comes to this trial. However, he is shockingly selected, and he has had no training like the rest of the semi-dioses have literally been training for this moment. Kind of, it reminded me a little bit of like Hunger Games, how districts 1 and 2, those children are training for it, kind of thing. And yeah, it's about kind of uncovering what is going on with these trials, and a kind of found family element, like learning to love oneself. Really enjoyable. Looking forward to book 2. For aquatic, I read Cursed Daughters, because the UK cover has someone in water. This is by Ian Braithwaite. I enjoyed this. It wasn't quite what I expected. I think that's the main thing. I really enjoyed My Sister, a Serial Killer by this author, and again, I went into that not really with the right expectations, and possibly that's what happened with this one, but I did enjoy what it was. It follows a family. It follows like multiple women from this family, and the family has been cursed that they will never find love or true love or something along those lines. So every woman in the family just never finds like long lasting love with any man. I guess it's just good luck to the curse that all of the women in this family are heterosexual. But yeah, and then I don't know, it's like it jumps between them all, it jumps between time, which is really interesting. And I guess it's just the question of, are their relationships falling through because of this curse, or are they doing it to themselves because they are expecting the curse to end their relationship, or are they falling in love with men that aren't just good men, you know? And there doesn't really seem to be or need to be a full explanation in my reading of the book, and that's the part I really enjoyed. It left me thinking and questioning. This is set in Nigeria, and I really enjoyed the watching how their culture really affects how their family works together as a unit, and like how their relationships are between one another. I really enjoy books that give me insight into how other cultures, families work, and yeah, I really enjoyed it for that part, if I'm perfectly honest. And then for Tropical Rainforest, we have Empire of Shadows, which I mentioned before. Again, really enjoyed this. Looking forward to picking up book 2. So for remix, I've not read anything for that one yet. I've not added anything for the Food Pyramid. I'm not sure if there is any books I've read that could even go in there. I just kind of forgot this prompt existed for a little bit. Mother Nature. No, I don't think I've got anything for that one. And yeah, we're just gonna move on. It's my birthday. This is one that this is a prompt that I'm going to attempt to do in my birthday month, although it is a lot of books. But my birthday month is February. Oh my god, why did that take me so long to think? So I'm going to try and do it in there. But it's also my son's birthday, so a lot of the month gets taken up with his birthday preparations. For a backlist author, so this is authors, backlist books, etc, etc. So I've popped the Douglas Adams book in here and the Sunbearer Trials in here. They're both books I've been wanting to get to for a while. The Not Pocket Monsters, I've not done anything for this. Again, I've not really looked into what I could do for this. I'm trying this year to do it a bit more monthly and not get too in the midst of the prompts I'm not currently focusing on. Then we have an anthology of authors. If you saw my August TBR, I have picked out the anthology. I will be reading that when it releases at the end of this month. It's the second in a Never Whistle at Night short story collection by Indigenous authors. You read an anthology, you then read you pick 6 of the authors from that anthology and read books by them. So we'll be fulfilling one of these prompts this month as well. for second chances and hidden gems. I have not done anything with this thus far. And then for side quests, obviously we had the teal cover and I put ink heart in. So that's where we are at the end of the month. It's been, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. We managed to fulfill a lot. It's a shame I didn't actually tick off that whole prompt with biomes, but apart from that, I'm quite happy with the reading I did. I'm hoping this month in August will be more physical books from my shelves, which would be the ideal goal. So yeah, I will pop up some stats on the screen. Let me know how your HRCYED reading is going. Drop a like, consider subscribing, watch it down there so you don't miss out on any of my future content. And I will see you soon for another video. Thank you so much for joining me today, friends. I will pop some videos up on the screen you might also be interested in checking out. Bye!